me through that, take me through that.
No one is talking about this, but they should be. Fans are buzzing after a heartwarming and slightly shocking reveal from Nelly himself. The rapper, the father, the husband, the entertainer sat down and opened up about his son, baby KK. And what he shared had people laughing, tearing up, and questioning just how much of Nelly lives in this little boy already. Stay right here. Don't blink, because we have the clip for you. And trust me, you'll want to wait and hear exactly what's going on. Nelly proudly said, "You can pick KK up, throw him on the bed, and he'll still run back to you laughing, begging for you to do it again." That's right. According to his father, baby KK is no ordinary toddler. He's tough, playful, and already showing signs of having that fearless Haynes DNA. The revelation set social media ablaze, with fans debating if this little boy is destined to follow in his father's footsteps. But Ashanti, standing right there, didn't let the moment pass without her own tender input. With her classic queen-like composure, she simply smiled and said, "He's just like his father." That one line sent fans into an emotional spiral. Because if you've been following this love story, you know Nelly's strength, charisma, and rough-around-the-edges energy is exactly what made him the man we know today. The clip felt less like a casual conversation and more like a glimpse into the DNA of a family legacy. Think about it. Nelly, who built his career on grit, determination, and an unmistakable stage presence, is now raising a son who laughs in the face of rough play. And Ashanti, the R&B queen who has carried grace and resilience throughout her career, is watching her baby mirror his father in ways she probably saw coming all along. What's fascinating here isn't just the story of a strong baby. It's how the world reacts when celebrity parents show us their private, unscripted family moments. We're used to seeing red carpet glam, music videos, and concert stages. But moments like this strip away the lights, showing us a couple navigating parenthood, raw, unfiltered, and surprisingly relatable. Fans quickly jumped online. Some cheered, saying, "That's a boy being a boy, full of energy." Others worried, asking, "Is Nelly encouraging baby KK to be too rough?" But the truth lies somewhere in between. And that's what we're here to unpack. Because what might look like harmless fun could also reveal a lot about Nelly's philosophy on fatherhood. And let's not forget, this isn't just about one child's personality. This is about how Ashanti and Nelly balance each other's parenting styles. Ashanti's calm reassurance versus Nelly's playful toughness. Their dynamic is becoming clearer with every public interaction, and fans can't help but wonder, will baby KK grow up embodying both of their worlds or lean toward his father's fearless side? To understand this, we have to rewind. Nelly's journey from music superstar to family man hasn't been simple. And Ashanti's transformation from R&B diva to nurturing mother has been equally powerful. Together, their parenting reveals a bigger story. One about love, identity, and what it means to raise the next generation of stars under the blinding light of fame. But here's the twist. Nelly didn't just stop at describing his son as strong. He said it with pride, almost as if he was recognizing a piece of himself in KK. And Ashanti's reply? It wasn't just playful commentary. It was acknowledgement. A knowing nod that this child is carrying not just his father's smile, but his father's fire. When Nelly described baby KK as strong, it wasn't just a proud father bragging about his son. It was symbolic. Because if you followed Nelly's life and career, you know he himself has always been described as tough, resilient, and unbreakable. From overcoming struggles in St. Louis to dominating the music charts, his journey was built on strength. Now the torch seems to be passing, not to a fan, not to a protege, but to his own son. Think about it. This is the same Nelly who broke barriers in hip-hop, turning catchy hooks and Midwest swagger into global hits. The man who weathered industry storms, survived personal challenges, and still stood tall. When he looks at baby KK laughing after being tossed on the bed, Nelly doesn't just see a playful child. He sees echoes of his own determination. A child who refuses to be knocked down even in play. And Ashanti's role in this is equally fascinating. As she lovingly teased, "He's just like his father," fans couldn't help but notice her mix of pride and playful warning. Because while she admires the strength and spirit, she also knows what comes with that. A rough, energetic child is a blessing, but also a challenge. And for Ashanti, who has spent years balancing her career with grace, KK's wild energy could be the universe testing her patience. The online reaction painted this perfectly. One fan wrote, "KK is Nelly's twin. You can tell already he's going to be fearless." Another fan commented, "Ashanti's going to have her hands full, but she's glowing while saying it." The comments weren't just about the baby. They were about how these two celebrities are stepping into their most important roles yet: parenting. And yet, the conversation quickly turned into a debate. Some argued that Nelly's rough play could be dangerous, warning that kids aren't indestructible. Others fired back, insisting this is exactly how children grow strong, how they develop confidence and resilience. Once again, the Haynes household had unintentionally sparked a bigger cultural conversation. How rough is too rough when raising kids? But let's pause here, because there's another layer. Ashanti's perspective is key. While Nelly beams with pride over KK's toughness, Ashanti seems to balance it with a softer tone. It's that yin and yang dynamic, the one fans have admired since their relationship became public again. Nelly brings the grit, Ashanti brings the grace. Together, they create balance, and baby KK seems to be the living embodiment of that union. Behind the glitz, the lights, and the headlines, what we're really seeing is a family building its own rhythm. A father teaching his son the joy of resilience, and a mother reminding them both of the importance of gentleness. And it's that balance, that push and pull, that makes their story so captivating. Let's not forget, this is a family under the microscope. Every word, every gesture, every offhand comment is analyzed by millions. When Nelly casually joked about tossing his son on the bed, it wasn't just a throwaway moment. It became a headline. It became a trend. And that's the price, and the gift, of living life in the public eye. Fans aren't just spectators, they're invested. They see baby KK as more than just a child. They see him as a symbol, the next chapter in a love story that has spanned decades, breakups, reconciliations, and now, family life. Every laugh, every step, every rough tumble is documented, dissected, and debated. And as much as that can be overwhelming, it's also a sign of how deeply people care about this family. So where does this leave us? Nelly and Ashanti are shaping not just their son's childhood, but their public legacy. And with KK already showing signs of being a strong, fearless child, the world is left wondering, will he grow up to carry on his father's boldness, his mother's elegance, or both? And more importantly, what will that mean for the Haynes name in the years to come? To really understand why Nelly beams with pride when he calls baby KK rough, we have to rewind the clock. Because Nelly wasn't born into luxury or comfort. He grew up in St. Louis, a city that shaped him with hard lessons and a tough exterior. For Nelly, resilience wasn't a choice. It was survival. And now, when he sees his son laugh after a tumble or run back after being tossed onto the bed, he sees a reflection of that same survival instinct, but in a much safer, much happier context. It's poetic, in a way. Nelly fought his way out of the streets, and now he watches his son embrace life without fear. Where Nelly once had to stand tall against challenges, KK stands tall against pillows and playful games. But the symbolism isn't lost on anyone. Strength runs in the family, even if the battles look different. And then there's Ashanti, the queen whose journey has always been one of elegance under pressure. She too knows what it means to be underestimated, to rise above, to reinvent herself in an industry that often tried to box her in. When she says, "He's just like his father," it's not just a playful tease, it's a recognition. A quiet nod that the same fire that carried Nelly through obstacles is already flickering in their baby boy. Fans online immediately drew comparisons. One wrote, "Baby KK's toughness is pure Nelly DNA." Another added, "But he's got his mom's smile. That's what balances him out." And that's exactly the story unfolding before our eyes. A child born into two worlds, the gritty resilience of a hip-hop icon and the graceful strength of an R&B legend. But not everyone is celebrating. Some fans raised a different concern, that Nelly might unintentionally encourage roughness too much. Comments like, "We love Nelly, but kids aren't toys," flooded the timeline. Others reminded people that Ashanti's calm presence is crucial, ensuring KK doesn't mistake toughness for recklessness. And it's this tension, between fun and safety, between roughness and nurturing, that has everyone talking. And let's be real, this isn't new. Celebrity parents have always been criticized for how they raise their kids. Whether it's too strict, too soft, too private, or too public, the world always has an opinion. But what makes Nelly and Ashanti's story different is that their fans don't just see them as celebrities. They see them as family. The audience feels invested in baby KK, almost like they're watching a nephew grow up in real time. This level of visibility means every little reveal carries weight. A casual comment from Nelly about rough play turns into headlines, debates, and think pieces. Ashanti's one-liner about KK being just like his father becomes a quote that fans replay endlessly. It's not just a family moment anymore, it's part of a legacy being built in public view. And the parallels between father and son are too strong to ignore. Nelly's childhood may have been filled with challenges, but it built a man who could conquer music, business, and now family life. KK's childhood, in contrast, is one of love, laughter, and security. But the energy, the resilience, the toughness, that's the same. Just repackaged into the joy of a little boy running back to his dad for more fun. What's remarkable is that Ashanti sees all of this clearly. As much as she teases Nelly, she also validates his role as a father. Her acknowledgement that KK is just like him isn't just about strength. It's about heritage. About seeing the parts of Nelly that she fell in love with. Determination, fire, and charm, now living in their son. And so the question lingers. If KK already mirrors his father so much at such a young age, what kind of man will he grow into? Will he inherit the stage presence, the confidence, the hustle? Or will Ashanti's grace guide him toward a different kind of spotlight? One thing is clear. This child is destined to carry the Haynes name forward in a way that blends two legacies into one unstoppable force. Now, let's step back for a moment. Because while this story about baby KK's toughness is undeniably heartwarming, there's also a heavier layer to it. This isn't just a family laughing at home. This is a family that lives in the spotlight. And every word Nelly and Ashanti share becomes part of the public narrative. Imagine raising a child while the world is not only watching, but also weighing in on every decision you make. This is the reality for Mr. and Mrs. Haynes. Every laugh, every playful toss on the bed, every parental joke, it all becomes content. And fans are quick to analyze. One side applauds Nelly for being an involved, playful father. The other side critiques him, warning about roughhousing. In truth, both sides might have a point, but here's the bigger picture. Fame doesn't just amplify your music, it amplifies your parenting too. Ashanti, in particular, has been praised for her grace under this kind of pressure. She knows how to balance being a star and being a mother. Backstage at shows, we've seen her with KK in her arms, smiling, multitasking, living proof that she can embody both roles. So when she gently teased Nelly, "He's just like his father," it wasn't just a wife's playful jab. It was her way of framing the narrative, of softening the conversation before critics could spin it negatively. And here's where things get interesting. Fans aren't just reacting to KK's strength. They're comparing him to his parents. They're already predicting what kind of personality he'll have, what kind of future he might build. In other words, the pressure of legacy is already here. KK isn't just a baby. He's the heir to two musical dynasties. It's almost cinematic when you think about it. On one side, you have Nelly, the hip-hop icon, the survivor, the hustler who turned struggle into superstardom. On the other, Ashanti, the R&B queen, the voice of resilience, elegance, and longevity. Together, their child embodies the potential of both worlds. That's a lot to put on a one-year-old's shoulders. But in this family, it's unavoidable, and so fans start asking the bigger questions. Will baby KK grow up shielded from the spotlight, or will he be embraced by it? Will Nelly and Ashanti encourage him to follow in their footsteps, or will they let him carve his own path? These aren't just casual debates. They're real dilemmas for parents who have spent their entire lives under the watchful eye of the public. The irony is that moments like this, a father proudly calling his son rough, a mother nodding in agreement, are the ones that make them most relatable. Because every parent knows what it feels like to see a piece of themselves in their child. Every parent knows the mix of pride and worry that comes with raising a fearless kid. That relatability is exactly why fans feel so invested. But relatability doesn't erase responsibility. The Haynes family knows that every story, every clip, every quote adds to the narrative. And whether they like it or not, that narrative shapes how the world views baby KK. Already, he's being compared to his dad. Already people are calling him strong, fearless, unstoppable. That's a powerful label. But it's also a heavy one for a child to carry. This is why Ashanti's presence matters so much. She's the grounding force, the balance to Nelly's boisterous energy. Where Nelly encourages toughness, Ashanti offers calmness. Where Nelly sees a mini-me, Ashanti sees a whole new person waiting to grow into his own. And together, that balance could be the key to raising a child who doesn't just mirror his parents, but transcends them. So the question becomes, can Nelly and Ashanti protect KK from the pitfalls of fame while still letting the world in on these precious family moments? Because make no mistake, the world will keep watching. Every laugh, every stumble, every milestone will be dissected. And the Haynes family must walk the tightrope between sharing their joy and shielding their child from the weight of public expectation. And now we arrive at the heart of it all. The bigger meaning behind Nelly's playful words, Ashanti's gentle reply, and the world's fascination with their son. Because this isn't just about a strong baby. This is about legacy, resilience, and the question every celebrity couple must face. How do you raise a child in a world where every step is broadcast, every smile is magnified, and every mistake is judged? For Nelly, the answer has always been to embrace the spotlight. He's never shied away from sharing his truth, even when it sparked controversy. By proudly declaring KK a rough child who can tumble, laugh, and come back for more, Nelly was doing what he's always done, turning personal moments into public stories. Stories that fans can connect to, debate about, and remember. But Ashanti's approach is softer. Her response, "He's just like his father," wasn't just agreement. It was a reminder that strength doesn't appear in a vacuum. KK's toughness is inherited. It's part of a lineage that includes not just physical resilience, but emotional survival. Ashanti herself knows what it means to withstand pressure, criticism, and reinvention, all while keeping grace intact. Together, they paint a fascinating picture, a family that represents both toughness and tenderness, a father who celebrates roughness as a badge of honor, a mother who reframes it as heritage, as something deeper than just physical play, and a child who, even before he can fully speak, is already becoming a symbol of that balance. The fans see it too. Social media lit up after Nelly's comments. Memes, jokes, and heartfelt messages poured in. Some laughed, imagining KK as a miniature version of his dad, running around unstoppable. Others worried, cautioning that children this young need gentleness, not roughhousing. But through it all, one thing was clear: the world is deeply invested in this family's journey. And that brings us to the real twist. Because if baby KK is already the talk of the internet at just 1 year old, imagine what the future holds. School performances, teenage years, maybe even a first attempt at music or sports. Every milestone will spark new headlines. The question isn't whether people will care. The question is, can the Haynes family protect their joy while living under such a microscope? This is the paradox of fame. The very thing that gives you wealth, opportunity, and influence also strips away privacy. And for a child like KK, that paradox is doubled. He's not just the son of stars. He is the story now. Every laugh, every tumble, every playful throw on the bed becomes part of his myth. So where does that leave us? With a family who must navigate the line between being open and being protective. with fans who must learn to celebrate the cuteness without overstepping into criticism, and with baby KK, the rough, fearless, laughing child, who will grow up carrying both the love of his parents and the weight of their legacy. And maybe that's the most powerful part of this story. Because while the world debates, critiques, and speculates inside their home, Nelly and Ashanti are simply parents. Parents who laugh with their son. Parents who marvel at his strength. Parents who, for all their fame, all their money, all their history, are just as amazed by their child as any of us would be. So as the story continues, one truth remains. Baby KK isn't just like his father. He isn't just like his mother. He's something new, a spark, a symbol of resilience, laughter, and the future. And if his first year is any indication, the Haynes family is only just beginning to write the next unforgettable chapter in their legacy.